Do the things that make you happy and stop focusing so much on the outcome, right? On the long term. Focus on you now and what makes you happy and what makes you feel good.
Welcome to You're Allowed to Hate Your Husband, a modern day love story. I am Remy Stern. I'm a relationship coach, and we are going to talk all things relationships, from being single to dating to being engaged, married. Who you marry is the most important decision you will ever make.
If you're looking for a wife, which is a beautiful thing to do, the best thing to do is to choose wisely.
If you're thinking, what am I doing wrong? Everybody else has it right. Then you are in the right place, because trust me, nobody knows what they're doing. I'm so excited. Please hop right in, listen to this episode, listen to this series, and we are so excited that you are joining us here. I'm so excited for you guys to listen to this episode. We have Claudia Mamiye. She is a holistic health coach and the founder of Claudia Alexis Health. And we talk about how to give to your body, give to yourself so that you can feel like your best version of yourself. And when you do that, you can attract everything you want into your life. So we talk about the process of knowing how to give to your body, what to give to it, how to move, how to be joyful and light in life, and just enjoy this miracle of life. And we have the best time doing it. She tells us how she met her husband and how they really have this happy, easy flowing marriage, and what it's like to give to a kid and give to yourself and give to a marriage. It's really such a special episode. Jonathan is back on this episode, so I'm sure you guys are excited about that. And hop right in, listen. I know you're gonna love this one.
Hi, I'm Claudia. So I'm a certified holistic health coach. And basically what I do is I help people figure out how to eat healthy, feel their best, lose weight many times, balance their hormones, and just get to their best healthy self that they can possibly be at. I also do so many other things on the side. I sell desserts. I make meal plans for people. I do 12 different things. I have an Instagram. Follow me.
Oh, we will get there. Everyone will be following you by the end for sure. So first of all, she does all of this while she is a mama of a new baby, and it is spectacular and just a boss mama. So bravo, bravo, bravo.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
How old is...
Marky is 5.5 months old.
Oh, nice.
It's Mark. And I always say Marky, and everyone's like, his name's Marky. I'm like, no, it's Mark. But
like Marco Polo.
He's my little Marky.
Cutie Pie Marky's how many months?
5.5 months old.
Okay. And you're running this whole business. It's so amazing. And what we want to talk about today and what I want to do is kind of following you through these stages of life, because health, I find, is a lifelong journey. Mm-hmm. And when you think you know one thing, then your whole life changes, mm-hmm. and then you have to learn a completely new thing. And I mean, we're sitting here and we've been very into our health journey these days, right?
Big time. I think that when we were dating, it was what club are we going to go to? What fancy restaurant can I take you to? Where are we going dancing? Now it's honey, I'm not drinking for a week. I'm so excited. We're going to go to sleep early. We're going to eat healthy. We're not going out to restaurants. It's
it used to be
oh, don't woo me too much.
It's we used to have how many shots can you take and fight over. Exactly. Now it's how early can you go to bed?
I was the same way though. I feel like everybody has that, where they have that stage of the shots and the drinking and going out, and then they get married, and it's true laziness as well.
Yes.
I don't want to go out and take shots and have fun.
But is it laziness, or is it just a different type of life? Yeah. I think it's an improved quality of life. Mm-hmm. I feel better. It's just a different being.
Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of times it's when maybe you're being forced to go out by your friends, or you kind of feel the pressure to go out, maybe to meet somebody or whatever it may be. And then when you are married, you're kind of just your genuine self and doing the things that you genuinely love. If you do want to go to a club and go out, then you can. If you do want to stay home and just chill, you can as well.
And I have to say, you and I do enjoy going out, dancing, having fun, live music, food. We do like doing it. So it's part of us, it's not it was faking it back then. But there's this new emphasis that we have, I would say, on health now and feeling our best, really for our daughter, like waking up and being able to feel our best. And we're both very like, I've always been very well versed in health, but like very inquisitive about it. Like I'll hear Jonathan, if he ever stays up late at night, it's to listen to podcasts on health for the most part.
Really?
Yes, maybe not, but a lot of the times. But I want to ask you, so
I listen to health podcasts while I watch the playoff basketball games in the background, so I have an excuse to stay up late. It's genius.
So I think he's learning about health, but he's really just watching. Great. Lovely. Gotta love this guy. So this journey has followed you from really when you were single too, right? So
Yes.
What was it that triggered this interest and excitement around health? What brought you to this?
So I think the main thing for me was basically, I remember going on the scale and saying, okay, you know what? I need to lose a few pounds. Let me go on this diet. My friend said, go on this diet. I said, okay, sure. I don't know anything about a diet. Never in my life did I ever follow a diet. My mom was always like, eat what you want, feel good. Like I was very active growing up. Like I never truly needed to go on a diet. That's the truth. And I didn't know the first thing that came to what a diet was, right? So my friend said, go on this diet. So I went on this diet, and the diet, what I realized after, going on it, the diet didn't take into account my specific needs and what works for me specifically. So the diet was basically, at the end of it, at the end of like 3 months, I gained like 20 pounds, which is
what
like
was it?
the craziest
You
thing. You want to
gained
know the
20
diet?
pounds on a diet?
Was it Whole 30?
20 pounds.
Wait, this happened to me too. I did Whole 30.
I think I'm on the same diet. Really?
Okay, so get off of it quick.
And go back to eating pizza so I can lose weight? I'm on this diet. I'm up 7 pounds. What the heck's going on?
You're saying that you eat a salad and you get fat.
Salad makes me fat. Because it doesn't move in the pizza tunnels.
Oh my God, the pizza tunnels. One of a kind. But I did Whole 30 and I gained a lot of weight because I remember thinking nuts. My friend and I were cracking up the other day about this because we were like, we would eat a bag of nuts this big and be like, we're so skinny. Meanwhile, we're getting, and then we were like, we'd go to dinner. We're like, we can't get anything that you guys are getting, but we're going to get, for myself, please, can I have the entire bowl of massive, massive, massive guacamole and this and this? And like, I didn't know. And so I got done with Whole 30 and I never felt worse, actually. I never felt internally, externally, all of the things. So I'm much more into my like intuitive eating now, but your diet didn't work. You gained 20 pounds. Then what happened? It didn't
work. The reason it didn't work is because it didn't take into account like me and my specific needs and like what worked for me. Basically the diet was like, you have to eat breakfast, you have to eat lunch, you have to eat snack, you have to eat dinner. Okay. And growing up, like I never truly ate like breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, like so religiously. Like it was more of just, I'm hungry, I'm eating, or I'm not hungry, I'm not eating. And it was like, if you don't eat your meals, then you're going to be hungry later. And then the dinner was never filling enough. So I would just like go and binge on whatever was in like my pantry because I just wasn't satisfied and wasn't happy. And that's the truth about like the end of the day. And yeah, the diet did not work for me and my standards and like what I needed. And I ended up realizing that basically I needed a little bit less food. This diet maybe was for somebody that needed more food or was used to losing, maybe they needed to lose 20 pounds. I needed to lose just like 5. And so going all the way back to it, I sat there and I looked at myself and I'm like, okay, this is obviously not working for me. I need to figure out what's going to work for me and basically not stress too much about it and not focus too much about it. I'm focusing so much every day on like, what am I having for lunch? What am I having for snack? I would literally finish lunch and say, I'm so excited for snack in 3.5 hours. Like that's not how it should be. So I ended up realizing I need to just feel satisfied at my meals. I need to feel full. I need to eat healthy foods and stop eating when I'm full, start eating when I'm hungry. And that's the basis of how I began.
Wow. And then what took you to the next level of being like, okay, fine, I'm doing this for myself. I'm eating when I'm hungry and I'm stopping when I'm full. Then what came next? What was the spiral of being like, wow, I'm obsessed with this. And now I want to help other people through it.
So I think that it became more than that. It became me like genuinely being cautious of the food that I was eating, because realizing certain things, like realizing that an egg is going to satisfy me way more than maybe just a bowl of lettuce with nothing on it, you know? So the protein is going to satisfy me and other things wouldn't. And realizing that, like, I didn't realize this when I was on the diet, that like certain foods are better for you and certain foods have more protein maybe, and certain foods would satisfy you, and maybe you need carbs after you work out because that's going to satisfy you. Really understanding the why as to why things are good for you, why things work for you, why things help you lose weight, why things help you maintain your weight, what things are good for certain reasons, and also just like balancing hormones. I realized that like my hormones were not balanced at all, and genuinely just like lowering cortisol levels, like not feeling super stressed out, not stressing my body out, not having like that puffy face. I was like, okay, nobody knows how to balance. You can balance your hormones by eating like healthy fats and things like that. But I wanted to balance my hormones and lose weight, you know? So the combination of the two is, I feel, not as common, like not as many people speak about it, right?
So what is that recipe for, like, let's say losing but maintaining weight? Like, listen, I'm the biggest, and Jonathan, we're the biggest advocates of eating healthy, loving your body, you know, like all about body love, but you want to feel good, like, especially as a mom and a wife. Like, I'm a happier person when I'm eating properly, when I'm working out. Like, I'm a better person. I'm more attracted to myself. I think it's like there's something attractive about taking care of yourself. So the combination of the losing or maintaining weight, you know, we want to be at a really, really healthy place, and balancing hormones. Do you have like that formula for success there?
So that's the key, is that there isn't like one specific formula that's going to work for everybody, because every single person is so individual, and what works for me might not work for you. And that's basically why I came into the coaching, because I wanted to help people figure out what is their recipe, instead of just saying like, okay, this is what worked for me. Like, it for sure would work for you, because that's basically, we realized that was a recipe for disaster when I tried out that diet, right? And that's pretty much the basis of it. Just understanding like you and what works for you might not work for me. So like, if you're the type of person that goes out every single night for dinner, we need to incorporate that into your lifestyle, you know?
So can you coach Jonathan real quick?
Love to.
Let's shoot.
Okay, so Jonathan thinks he's gaining weight.
I think everything that you've said is perfect. It's a great game plan. I love enjoying life, so I'm not saying goodbye to pizza ever. So I'm gonna have my pizza. Now I can be intelligent about it. I can like just scrape the cheese and the sauce from 2 slices and put it on one, and then I'm having 1.5 slices as opposed to 2. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to work out a lot, and then I'll eat healthy for the other 20 meals of the week. But that one meal, Sunday night, it's pizza night.
I don't think it's one meal. Let's be realistic here. I would say Jonathan is 30% enjoyment meals, and there's dessert every single night, which, mind you, I'm with him, and we talked about this, like doing this by yourself versus doing it with a husband versus doing it with husband and baby. Like, it changes at different stages in your life. But Jonathan, we're back to you.
You have to be very disciplined. Me personally, I have to be super disciplined. I have to have a very small, nutritious dinner early, and, you know, just go to bed. Same thing for lunch, like light, easy, you know, go back to work. Same thing for breakfast.
What happens?
If I have to eat small meals or medium. But if I enjoy myself, or if I'm sitting at a 4-hour dinner with my wife and there's like 9 courses, probably not going to have a good night.
So for someone like Jonathan, who, let's say, goes out to dinner 3 times a week, 3 to 4, then there's Shabbat, which is one big meal.
The best.
The best. And there's sometimes that's over serving. And there's breakfast that sometimes is just a banana, other times is a big balanced breakfast. Where does he begin to feel his best?
Okay.
You must meet a lot of people like me.
I meet a lot of different people. I've heard it like truly a lot.
Do you work with men, by the way?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
I do.
Jonathan's getting coached.
So basically, I would start and tell you, have you ever been on a diet before? Have you ever lost weight before? And what was it? What worked for you?
I've never been on a diet, but I did come back from LA a little bit pudgy. So I decided to go with just sushi for dinner, like a tuna poke or tuna maguru, and call it a day. Lunch was light salad, Greek salad, and breakfast was super light as well. My snacks were raw veggies, carrots, cucumbers, fennel, jicama. That's it.
My fave.
I lost 10 pounds just like that.
When I met
and a lot of tennis in the sun. That helped.
Okay. So now moving forward, did you like that way of life? Did it work for you? Yeah. Okay.
But now I have a wife that drags me to restaurants, and I have a daughter that I have to run.
You don't lie. Don't lie. You were going to.
I don't have the freedom that I used to.
You were going to restaurants. You were taking girls on dates. You were going to restaurants then. It's not just your wife who drags you to restaurants. You were going on dates during that time too. So at least 2 days a week, you were at a restaurant then.
But my dates didn't share the meal with me. We didn't order a family style, like 9 things from the table. We kind of like, I ordered this, you ordered that.
So you and I will order less. We're going to order less. Okay. So Jonathan, you liked that stage. Did you eat dessert back then?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So tell us more.
Okay. So I think that back then you found a way of fitting this healthy lifestyle into a life that worked for you then, right? So let's try to figure out how we can fit that into your current lifestyle, because you loved the way you felt, you were eating the foods that you enjoyed, and you were doing the things that you loved. So let's just rework into, you have a wife now, you have a kid, maybe there's other foods around that aren't as nutritious as there were when you were doing this back then. So let's rework.
Okay.
I like it. I think it's cool.
I think I'm doing great on my diet. I'm already down 2 pounds.
I think you and I could do it. We could do it.
No, but you know what I mean. When you get married, you go to your kids' gymnastics or birthday party. And I can't be like, well, I'm going to have a Greek salad. They're serving pizza and disgusting looking salad. So I'm screwed. I'm up, you know where. So it's... you enter more problematic situations.
The funny thing is, on the flip side, I'm sitting here as a wife and I'm like, back in the day, I used to cook myself a meal and it was, I could put whatever I wanted. Now I have a husband who I have to add a lot more this, a lot more this. We go to dinners. It really does change throughout the years. So
change it up.
So for you, let's say like in different stages, were there different things that you focused on? So say when you were single and going on dates, maybe dinners out, but then some nights at home, and then we'll go to like when you're cooking for someone else and then when being a mama. So were there different like stages that you went through in this health journey?
Yes, 100%. My life has changed 10 times over since being single and everything like that. So when I was single, I drank alcohol, and I currently don't drink alcohol.
Nothing.
What was the last alcoholic beverage that you consumed?
I got like very drunk like, what was it, 2 years ago? Almost 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was like the last time I really drank. But here and there, I will say, I'll have like I wouldn't say a glass of wine. I'd say like a quarter of a glass of wine.
Really?
Or because I get so drunk from it now. So so little affects me so much. Yeah. So the truth is, the reason I don't drink isn't like for some sort of like, name or anything. Like, I don't drink. I genuinely find that when I drink, I don't feel as great. I'm not like super opposed to it. I'm not, also I don't like how it like treats my body. I know what it does to my body. I don't like how I feel. I wake up the next day puffy. I'm not hungry at all. I notice that my cortisol levels, which is like the stress hormone, is elevated. I just don't feel great. So
you're my hero.
Yeah, I try.
Does your devilishly handsome husband Jack drink, or he's on your boat?
Yes, he does.
Okay, so he drinks.
Yeah, Jack drinks.
Does he wake up with hangovers and whatnot, or he's okay?
Yes, he does. And then I have to make him my sexy water. He calls it sexy water because he's like, what is this?
Tell us about this sexy water, please.
It's just like water. I put like Celtic sea salt for electrolytes. I put lemon. I'll put coconut water for extra hydration.
When he gets home?
When he's like hungover, like
the next morning.
Yeah.
So it's
honey, you don't make
or
me
like
sexy
if he feels
water.
like low immunity,
I will start making it. So I have my electrolytes. I have my electrolyte things here, but I want to make this. So so everyone knows it's coconut.
So it depends on truly what I have in the house, because it's always different, really, depending on what I have, but also depending on what he needs. So if he's just hungover, like I'll give him something like this, or sometimes he's low in immunity, I'll give him something a little different. So what I do a lot of times also is if you ever go to like the store and get a ginger shot or something, like any juice shop, get like a ginger shot with lemon and stuff like that. Pour it in a big cup of water and sip on that. Put some Celtic sea salt in it. You can squeeze some fresh orange or fresh lemon in there also.
What about tequila? You put tequila in
A
the
little
sexy water?
tequila as well, because if
Hair
you
of the
keep
dog?
going, then there's no hangover, right?
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
What is it about Celtic salt that like
Yeah.
it's just an electrolyte that
Do you
holds?
say Celtic? I say Celtic. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I say
The
Celtic.
Celtics won the championship, so I'm going with Celtic.
I've
But I've never heard of Celtic salt. I've probably heard of Celtic
Celtic.
salt. Is it Celtic?
I might be saying Celtics.
Wait,
because of the
so
Celtic.
instead of talking about Celtic salt and all those fun stuff, can we talk about how Jack landed such an amazing woman?
These are true.
Can we give some
facts.
dating
You want to hear about how I
insight?
met
Yes.
Jack? I met Jack at a party. First of all, okay, I met Jack at a party, and basically he came up to me and he was like, "Want to come home with me?" And I was like, "No." And this is the true story, and I will tell you, Jack will say a million times, "This is not what happened. This is fully what happened."
Oh, this is amazing.
I said, "No, like maybe soon, I'll see you in a few. Like I'm still hanging out." He goes, "Okay." And then I walk the party. Literally a guy, he was running after me, trying to talk to me, like, and I was trying to run away. And I was running away, and the party was like basically empty. I ran to Jack and I was like, "Oh, you still want to leave?" And he was like, "Yeah, my car's outside." I said, "Cool, take me home." He goes, "Okay." So he ended up taking me home, and he took me to my house, and I was like, "Don't you want to like get ice cream or something?" And he's like, "Sure." He took me for ice cream
So
and then
cute.
dropped me home. Ended up like seeing him at so many different parties, and he kept trying to kiss me, and I'm like, "No, not gonna kiss you," because I was very like reserved. I was like, "I'm not kissing someone unless they're my boyfriend." I was like, I don't know, so weird.
How
but,
old
like,
were you?
goody two shoes, 22.
Really? Oh my God, you were a baby.
Yeah. No, I got married at 22. Yeah, I was 22, I think. Yeah.
That's
Oh.
awesome. So where was your first date?
And then we went on our first date in Deal in Jersey and went for dinner. And then I was going to break up with him after like 3 or 4 dates. I wasn't like that into it. And Jack loved me.
That's so cute. He's the best.
Yeah. And
It was love at first sight for Jack.
yeah, Jack
know that.
claims Jack's like, you
But
were
after
obsessed
3, 4
with me.
dates, you were potentially considering jumping ship.
Uh-huh.
So what did he do to reel you back in?
I genuinely can tell you that I have no idea, because one day I called Jen, my sister-in-law, and I said, "Jen, I don't know. I think I'm going to break up with him today." It was a day date. We hung out like the entire day on a Sunday. He took me out in Soho. We went for lunch. We walked around. We went shopping. We just hung out. And I felt like I genuinely got to see him and like what he's like and what life would be like with him. Like so funny. But I ended
Oh,
up
that's cute.
going home, called Jen, and I'm like, I like him.
Never mind.
I like him. And I fell in love with him like that month. And yeah, we ended up speaking about getting married like 2 months later and got married 9 months later, fully 9 months.
Wow.
We were engaged, I think 6 months later, married 9 months later.
So when
Wow.
you met Jack, what place in life were you at? Were you in like so healthy, loving life,
Mhm.
feeling good, happy in your body? Like what was the state of mind that Claudia was in when she met
Mhm.
Jack?
I was so happy with myself and just living my life. I wasn't actively looking for a partner, or I was obviously like happy if it came, of course. Like I wanted to be married and I want to build a family and all the things that, everybody wants, but I wasn't actively like harsh on myself if that didn't happen. I was looking at my life and I was like, I'm happy. I'm working out every day. I feel good. I'm eating healthy. I'm living life. I didn't love my job at the time, but it just ended up working out. And I think that I looked at my life and I was just like, I'm living a happy life and I'm so content with myself that I don't need anything to change right now. And that's the truth when it comes to, I think, being single and living a single life and relationships, is that if somebody comes into your life and they see that like you're happy and you don't need them, they're gonna like attract towards you, right? Versus like if I'm a person that's constantly looking and somebody comes to take me on a date and I'm like, I'm obsessed with you, I need you, you know, they're going to be a little bit less inclined to like continue. So I think the fact that I wasn't as like, you know, obsessed with Jack in the beginning helped to kind of, I was so like happy with myself that I wasn't, you know, I think that he saw that and, you know.
And so you need to be in a really nice place and like, you got to have your welcome mat out. You got to be happy inside. And that's a good place to start. I'd like to highlight 2 very important lessons I heard from this beautiful love story. Number 1 is that it's very normal for a woman to even be unsure or to doubt the relationship or to just not fully know, even after 3-4 dates. And then like that, as long as you're open and you stay the course and you see it through, it could easily change. And 6 months later, engagement, 9 months later, married, 2 years later, Marky Mark's running down the hallway. So it's totally normal to have doubts. It's natural, right?
I think yes. Like I wasn't sure, obviously. I think yes, it's normal to have doubts, but I think that when it comes to a certain point, you want to be 100% sure. You know, like at the end of the day, when I was engaged to Jack, it was like 100,000% not a doubt in my mind. I'm obsessed with this man, like literally so in love. So I think that if you do have a little bit of a doubt, then and you're getting engaged, that's not it. But if you have a doubt in the beginning, like
3-4 dates,
I wouldn't say a doubt. I'd say more like, I don't know how I feel right now.
Sure.
You know?
But also,
what did he buy you in that Soho shopping?
He bought me absolutely
nothing.
That
went from doubt man to I'm going to marry this guy forever.
I'm going to tell you.
And what stores did he step into?
He bought me nothing. He actually offered to buy me something, which was so nice, but like he didn't buy me anything. There's one thing that he did that I noticed it and I loved it, where I don't think many people would notice it and care so much, but this changed the game for me. Like,
tell us.
We were in the city and my brother said, "Where are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm in the city, like in Soho with Jack." He's like, "Oh, cool." And at this point he had already met Jack because Jack came over to my house after like some of these parties and he basically met my whole family because my family's always like, I would always like come to my house. Like my house is my safe zone. My family's there, you know, it's my house. So I think that was like my safe zone. And like he met my family already and it wasn't weird for them to meet him because it was just like, oh, okay. Not saying like, oh, another guy, you know, not like that, but like, okay, Claudia's just coming over with a friend or whatever, you know? And I think that, okay, so Adam, my brother, ended up meeting us and Jack said, "I'm very thirsty, like I need water." So Jack went into like the store and he came out and my other friend was there as well. So it was like us 4. Jack went into the store, went to go grab a water, came out with 4 waters.
So cute.
I was like, this guy so genuinely cute. Shows his character and like what he's like. He bought a water for me, my brother, my friend, and himself. Like it wasn't just, okay, I got my water, let's continue our day.
I love that
you know,
so
and
much.
I looked at this and I was like, this is a genuinely like, he cares about people. And to this day, I will tell you that like, he is like that, you know?
Proper manners.
He will always just like,
giver.
No matter what, just care for people. And like, that's what I love about him so much.
That's so cute. You want to know my time that I was like, Jonathan, it wasn't
Please
this, but it was just, it's so silly. But I always wanted somebody who like people loved and they loved people. It's similar to that. Like I love when people care for others, but just walking into Jonathan's apartment the first time, and it wasn't like we just walked past the doorman like, hey, how are you? John was like, hey, one of the doormen, they played baseball the weekend before with his son and Jonathan went and like, they knew him so well. And they're like, and they like, were literally sitting and talking. And I just like loved it that it was like a people person to every single person on the street. That was one moment that I was like, wow, he's a really, really good guy.
That's so beautiful.
You're welcome.
That's really a beautiful comment. Thank you.
Also, stuff with your mom. I remember you were very, very cute with your mom. He also sent me, I was living with my friends downtown and he sent me Shabbat food. He like made a little plate and he gave me his tadig. And if you don't know what tadig is, that's a really nice thing for your husband to do, to give him.
I gave you my tadig.
His tadig.
Huge.
He gave me
I've never given anybody my tadig.
And he sent me in a taxi down. a little Shabbat plate. How cute is that? That was before like we were like really dating. So those little moments, they're really important. It's not the taking you to the big meal and the buying you the outfit at the store. It's
Taking
literally
you to the opera,
it's buying the four water
Nope.
bottles. And that like just gave me the chills. It's really, really cute.
It's so
That's
cute.
beautiful. So what about Jack is so special that you love him so much?
I think what I love about Jack is that he's genuinely always thinking of other people, and he is just always caring, as well as like he doesn't get, I think in situations, stressful situations, he doesn't get worked up. He's like, all right, you know, what's the big deal? Or like, okay, we'll figure it out. Or like doesn't shout, which is so nice.
Super level-headed.
So,
Have you ever gotten into a fight with him or a little tussle?
Jack and I have gotten to very, I don't want to like, you know,
jinx it,
but like we have gotten to very few we've never gotten into like a I hate you, I don't, you know, I'm obsessed with him. How can I ever fight like
You're
that? But
so
like
cute.
we
even with baby stuff when like
late, like yeah, the other day he took forever to put together. It's so funny. He took forever to put together our high chair. And I'm like, Margie has to eat. Like, can you hurry up? And he's like, don't talk to me. You're being mean.
Oh, that's
day to day.
That's like, yeah.
Maybe he's afraid to fight with her because she's got 9 older brothers in the mafia.
Maybe.
And he doesn't want to, you know, step on any toes.
No, but truly, like, if I get mad about something, he'll just say, okay. And, you know, and like,
you seem like that too.
It drops. Though. It's not something that I also myself will say, I don't feel like we need to sit and like be worked up about something so stupid. If it's something that's truly, I've read a few books, and one of the books that I've read is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And like,
it's one of my first
truly,
books ever that I read on these subjects a long time ago.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to understand like when it's worth it and when it's not. And it's just not worth it unless it's something that, you know, he's doing that's absolutely crazy, which I can't imagine what it would be.
So funny. It's Jonathan has taught me this too, of just like, and it's a saying that all of like the young kids say these days. I don't know if you know, but they're like, it's just not that deep. Like always like, it's just not that deep.
Yeah.
And it sticks with me. And Jonathan teaches me, he's like, what that feeling you're feeling, if it's annoyed, if it's anger, if it's like, and we're taking it as like this all-consuming thing that's driving us crazy. Like, it's not that deep. Whatever the thing is, like, relax. Life is so beautiful. It's such a blessing to have every single day. This is Jonathan's biggest thing that he teaches me. Like, whatever it is, it's probably not that deep. Like, enjoy your life while you're at it. It actually, that makes me think of something. And by the way, you should give dating advice, marriage advice, as well as food advice, right? This is all
but just for the fun. Just for the fun. Can you tell us a couple of things that Jack does that really...
The pet peeves? It seems like, you know, slowly making a high chair.
Twist your elbows.
I think that I get very nervous. I'm like a fast person. Everything needs to be quick. Everything needs to be done. Like even everything, just everything in life. Like when I walk so fast. When Jack walks, he walks like slower.
Jack's everything. My type of person.
Jack
Love
is
it.
very... like everything just takes time, and I'm not like that. I need things to be quick. So I think that's where it happened, where the frustration with the high chair.
By the way, I think...
Wait, did he grow up? He didn't grow up in the city.
He grew up in the city.
And he's a slow walker?
And I grew up in Deal.
I've never met a slow walker that grew up in Manhattan.
Jack, oh my goodness. And he's like, let's just walk. And I'm like, can you walk? Can you go? Like,
it's so funny.
Get there.
Okay, so my question for you is, first of all, you've got this very light, happy mentality at all stages. And it's so important to have this mentality. And when working with your clients, when it feels deep, it comes like, listen, our bodies like are our vessels. And when you don't like your vessel, and I've been there, we've all been there, where it's like you feel uncomfortable putting something on. So
I've been there.
And it's no fun. It's not fun. But like, how do you make it light? How do you make it happy? How do you feed yourself energetically, physically, all of those things, the good things that you have? Because people want, not to be annoying, but what you have, like you have such a light, happy energy. So how do you do
confidence.
it?
Thank you so much, first of all. I think that when it comes to like you and like feeling confident, looking at your body, it's very hard to say I love my body. When you don't feel happy or you don't feel comfortable, it's very hard to just look in the mirror and say, you know what? Screw everything. I'm going to tell myself I love my body and then eventually I'll love my body. That's not realistic. The truth is, first of all, treating your body like it is, so important. And obviously, you need to just make sure that you're treating it as well as you possibly can, right? So, doing for you what feels good. And maybe if that means nourishing it, if that means working out, if that means just do something for your body. Because what I've learned is when you are doing something for, let's say, a person, for example, if I'm doing things constantly for you, I'm going to care so much about you because I'm putting so much work and effort into it that into you and like making sure that you're happy, that I'm gonna, care a lot and I'm gonna love you, right? If I care for my body and if I care for the things that it's doing for me and I'm treating it well, I'm going to eventually love it. That's first. And the other thing is that naturally, I don't think that I ever looked at myself and I was like, I love my body, or like focus too much on it. I think that yes, when I like going back to the first point, when I did things for my body to make myself feel good and be happy, it worked and I naturally loved it without like constantly telling myself like, I love my body, I love my body. But also, I think that I never really cared so much for it until after I gave birth. And once I gave birth, and obviously it sounds like you hear it all the time, like my body gave birth, my body, but it's so true. Like I was able to create this baby inside of me from nothing, literally a pea it was. And he became this human. And I look at him today and I'm so in awe of this is my child. Like I created him. Jack and I look at each other all the time and we say, like, I can't believe last year, this time, he was this in my belly, and that's so crazy. So just the things that it's done for me. And also like after I gave birth, producing milk and like all that stuff is so crazy. I created this kid and now I'm making food for him also. Whoa, double, like it's a win-win. And I think doing that and then looking at myself and saying to myself, I need to lose weight right now is not really what's in the cards for me right now. I think the most important thing for me, in that moment at the time was producing milk for my baby. And I wasn't focused on, I need to lose weight or I need to feel this certain way because I was just focused on him and what makes him happy and what makes him feel good. And that's nourishing him, giving him food, making sure he sleeps, focusing on him, not really focusing on me. And I think that's where the mom mentality comes in of just being a little bit more selfless in life. Sometimes you have to give before you take. And just genuinely, I think I looked at myself that way and I said, okay, I love what it's doing for me and I love all these things. And with this, eventually, I knew in my head, I don't need to lose the weight right now. I have my whole life to lose the weight. Obviously, not my whole life because I want a million more kids. But yeah, I just knew that the weight would come when it's time to come. And right now it's time for me to give my baby what it needs. And that's it. I love my body when it's giving me the things that it needs to give me and when it's doing the things that it's doing. And I love my body when I'm able to run and work out and eat the foods that I love, So it's really time and place and just looking at what your body's doing for you and giving back to it.
Yeah. I mean, really, if you sit and think about the miracle of your body, like you're going to have to love your body. I love the idea of how many things right now sitting everybody anywhere, wherever you are, that are working together. It's like millions of things to just have you sitting here. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about your heart pumping the blood in your body and the neurons firing and the nerves, like in your bones moving and your muscles. Like you don't have to think about it. It is just happening. How cool is that? Like, okay, fine. Go look at
a million miracles.
A million miracles.
Like a minute.
Go look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. Like I tell people to do that. And actually it's something that I do. If I'm ever hard on a part of my body, I turn to it and I say, you know what? Give that part of my body like a compliment, whether it's about the fact that my legs walk me somewhere or something happens. And I like to think of my thoughts being as powerful as like the food I'm eating. So if I eat junk food, it's going to show in my body. If I speak junk food to my body, if I'm like, oh, you suck, I hate like you, this, it's just as powerful. And like you've seen people out there who who don't have the skinniest body and are so confident and love their body, like that has so much beauty to it. So there's two sides of it, right? But the thing that you're saying that I love is giving to your body. Like when you know the proper things to do and you do them and you say, you know what, I'm actually going to commit to you and I'm going to have the discipline and I'm going to have the care for my body and I'm going to move my body every single day. Like that was my first thing post giving birth, that I was like, not focusing on losing weight, not focusing on anything. I'm going to get out of my house every single day and go to my workout. That's it, period. And then SLT, gotta love it. I'm going to find a time today to go. But that starts a trickle effect, right? So for me, I knew that SLT led to, okay, now I'm going to focus on this breakfast with this lunch. And slowly but surely, I started to feel the best I've ever felt. I haven't stepped on a scale since way before I was pregnant. I've never loved my body more. I've never felt more confident. I've never been more in tune of what I want to eat, how I want to eat it. I'll have cake. We had ice cream last night and cookies.
Gelato.
Oh yeah, we did. But so for you, let's say the moment that you were like, okay, you know, my body's a miracle. Thank you, God. Like this is so amazing. Now I want to get back to myself and feeling my best and giving to my body. What does that look like for you? What does maybe a day in the life look like? What was your staple? Like mine was my SLT, my runs. What was it for you to be like, okay, now I'm going to give to my body the way I want to?
Okay. So one of the things that I love doing, genuinely love doing, is I love going on a run. Okay. And like first thing in the morning, that's what I love. And I know that for hormones, running first thing in the morning for some people isn't great because it could spike your cortisol levels and maybe put you in stress mode. But for me, I don't find that specifically, because when I'm going on my run, I'm relaxed, which sounds so crazy. But basically what happens is I have a laundry list of things to do when I first wake up in the morning, you know? I obviously have like a to-do list, my day. And when I go on my run first thing in the morning, I'm thinking of all the things I have to do that day. I'm thinking of, like I'm in my thoughts, you know, I'm not really focusing on my run. I'm thinking of, okay, so I'm going to do this. Maybe I should do this before I do this. Maybe I should.
It's a strategy session.
Yeah.
Strategy session. Oh, English.
I basically have in my head, like just thoughts. And a lot of times, if obviously I'm not going on a run every single day, but I'll wake up in the morning and I'll mind dump kind of and write down like all the things I have to do, or write down everything that I need that day or stuff like that. And I feel like when I go on a run, I'm doing it, but in my head, right? So it's just my time to like be with myself, time to chill, time to just like think of everything, because I'm a big thinker. I love just sitting down and thinking and being in my thoughts, because it really helps me to be logical and also be creative, because one of my passions is creation. And, you know, obviously my Instagram, I make these videos and recipes, and I always need to be creative. So I think that like going on runs in the morning is something that I love doing. And when I was pregnant, it turned to walks, which I didn't love as much, because also the feeling after it of like just being so sweaty and, you know, everything just feels tight and like you just feel good, you know, you just worked out, you accomplished something and feeling great. So that's like one thing. So food wise, it truly looks like just incorporating. I genuinely, and people think I'm crazy. I don't know. People think I'm weird, but this is my palate. Okay. And I'm being honest. I love vegetables. Like, sounds so weird.
Me too.
Love vegetables. No, seriously.
I love raw vegetables. Carrots, cucumber.
Love. Okay.
Little spicy salt. What's that salt that we put on?
Yeah, the Celtic salt. Just kidding. It's the, what's it called? Jennifer Fisher salt.
I love Jennifer
Do you have
Fisher
it?
salt.
No.
I'll show it to
Oh,
you.
is
It's
that
really good.
the flavored one?
Yeah, it's like spicy.
My sister-in-law
and
gave
it's
it
good.
to me.
I'll give you a
Yes.
cup.
Okay. My sister-in-law and I are obsessed with salt. So like, yes, she gave it to me. But I think just when it comes to food, I love vegetables. I love fruit. I also love pizza and pasta and all those things. But in a daily life, I love these things, not just because they're so delicious, but also I know that they're doing good things for my body. I'm feeling good in it. And even when I was pregnant, everyone's like, when you get pregnant, like you can eat whatever you want. You can eat whatever you want, whenever you want. You know, it's not just when you're pregnant. It's truly just eating the foods that you enjoy. And of course, having like a lot of vegetables and a lot of fruits, and I still eat the pizza and the pasta when I want them. I just have it in a more balanced way. So I genuinely am not a big craver because I feel happy with what I'm eating. I think a lot of times people are like, I'm craving ice cream. And it's like, have you given yourself ice cream in a while? Like, why are you craving it? So it's really just having like a nice balance of healthy foods and, fun foods, and not really labeling them as anything so crazy. Because when you say like, oh, I can't have that, or like restricting too much, then you're obviously going to want it more. Just like Jack said, he loved me so much because I was hard to get. You're going to love anything that is hard to get. Even more so. So
I love
you're
seeing
gonna need it.
crudité on the menu.
Jonathan loves
the
crudité.
best.
So now do you do breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, or not that? Because that's kind of where we started.
Yeah. So, truthfully, every day is different. And there are days when I eat breakfast and there are days when I don't. And it's all about tuning into my body and seeing what I'm feeling. So in our cycle, there's 28 days in our cycle, right? So there are days when we're going to feel hungrier and days when we're going to feel not as hungry. And there's days when I wake up and I am starving and I need a breakfast. And I'm not a big breakfast person. This is just how I am. I'd prefer to have like a nice big dinner or like a nice big lunch, because this is just like how my days plan out. Like I like to wake up and like be productive rather than sit down and eat. So I usually for breakfast will have something like yogurt and an apple, which is like my favorite thing. And there's days when genuinely I'm like, okay, I woke up so late or I got straight into work. I didn't even have a thought of breakfast, or I always drink my water. I drink 32 ounces of water every morning before anything. I take probiotics and I take a multivitamin, then move on to my day, like getting ready or going to work out or something. Or before I do work out, I try to take like 2 Brazil nuts or something, because if I'm not having breakfast, I don't want like my cortisol to just keep rising and stress hormone just like to continuously keep rising. Because what happens is when you wake up, your cortisol starts to rise and rise and rise, and basically food cuts it. So having something before the gym or like a run or something like that is good. But if like I
What
try
about
to
fruit? Is that too high in sugar?
No. So fruit is great. What I like about fruit is, and like I said, it really depends on the day because every day is different. So it depends what you're looking for. So if you're someone who wakes up and your digestion is completely off and you have bad gut health, fruit on an empty stomach is so incredible because it digests really well when it's alone, and it's great for digestion. It passes through. Whereas if you were to have fruit with something, you can get bloated because it's just, messing a little bit with your digestion. But if you're somebody that has high cortisol levels, then maybe you want to combine something with your fruit, because that's going to make sure that your blood sugar is a little bit more balanced.
How do you know if you have high cortisol? Stress?
Yeah, stress, but stress doesn't have to mean like you feeling stressed. It can show up in different ways. It can show up in your face, like sometimes puffy face, puffy inflammation in the body. It can show up in really many different ways. So just depends on like you and how you're feeling. If you don't feel like yourself, or if maybe your periods aren't matching up correctly, things like that, then you want to just focus on how you're feeling, stuff like that. Or if your digestion is completely off, it could be, so that's where it gets a little bit tricky.
So it's per person is the thing.
Very per person.
Is there one way that you could tell someone this is how you can tell your cortisol's up or down, or none of that?
Yeah, you could definitely tell by, like I said before, those few things.
The puffy, okay.
Yeah, those are like instant, just knowing. Also, a lot of times people think like if you're not hungry all day, like I told you, okay, before I mentioned that when I drink alcohol, I ended up realizing that the next day I wasn't hungry at all. My cortisol levels were probably high. If you're not hungry all day, that's a sign. That's why a lot of times coffee, it makes you not hungry, because you instantly putting sugar and caffeine into your body, your cortisol levels are going to keep rising, and all day you're not going to be hungry because your cortisol levels are high, right? So that's the reason that
But if cortisol's high, you're puffier. So it's kind of doing the opposite of what someone might.
It's not really going to help you. It's not going to work with you. You want to work with your body and with yourself. So yeah, it's not going to help you just by, not eating all day.
Caffeine? Do you drink coffee?
I drink 0 caffeine. I sound like a crazy healthy person, but I do eat all the foods. I eat like, all the foods.
Yeah.
I have a good balance, but I don't drink caffeine because I get anxiety from it.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
To me, it's like an irrelevant. I'll have it some days. I'll have it not other days. I kind of like it just as like a staple in my meal. So if you were to give maybe your younger self or just someone out there who feels very new at this stuff and wants to feel good, wants to be happy, wants to, for lack of a better term, love their body, find a relationship, be in a happy relationship, what would your main piece of advice for them be?
My main piece of advice would basically just be do the things that make you happy and stop focusing so much on the outcome, right? On the long term. Focus on you now and what makes you happy and what makes you feel good. Because if you look at anything, like even sometimes when I'm on a run, I'll focus on now. I'll say like, okay, I have to get to that like mile marker. I have to get like there. And I'm like, why am I giving myself these long-term, what's the word that I'm looking for?
You will arrive in
Destination.
your destination, but embrace the journey.
Right.
I like that.
Love that.
Cute.
But why am I looking at this destination where let me focus on now and how I feel. And then when I focus on the now and like when I'm running, I'll stop when I'm tired. Right. And I end up going way longer when I focus on how I'm currently feeling than when I focus on, okay, I have to keep going because I try to save my energy for all that. And it ends up just backtracking, So focus on just you, what makes you happy, what makes you feel good, what pushes you in life. And don't focus too much on, the diet and everything like that. I think that one time somebody told me like, stop focusing so much on it. And it's true. Like I was so focused on, okay, this is my breakfast. This is my lunch. This is my snack. This is my dinner. I'm so excited. This is what I'm having. Chill. Like, okay, am I in the mood for a salad or am I in the mood for a sandwich? Like if I'm in the mood for a sandwich, I'm like, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times some people say like, oh, but I'm craving chocolate. This happens all the time. I have a client come to me and say, I'm craving chocolate. I don't know what it is. And I'm like, okay, like when was your last period? And they'll tell me. And I'm like, okay, it sounds like you're probably getting it soon. And I said, it's totally normal to crave these things, so have it. And they end up having it. 2 days later, they call me, oh, LOL, got my period.
Yeah.
Okay, your body is so smart. It's so important to just be in tune with your body and listen to it and see what the reality is. If you're craving something, there's a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
Either you're depriving yourself of it, or maybe you're in a certain place in your cycle, or it's hot outside, you crave something cold, ice cream, these things happen. And it's just important to have a nice balance where you're allowing yourself to eat these foods, because if you don't, you're going to have it 10 times over.
Yeah. I love that so much. I just want to go back quickly to your run analogy, because I always find runs to be like a metaphor for my life. And similar thing, like if I'm ever thinking like, okay, I need to get to that place, what I'll do is I stop and like, I'm usually running in Central Park. This doesn't go as well, I guess, on a treadmill if I think about it. But I'll be like, oh, like look at that tree and like look at this. And all of a sudden I'm at the place I was thinking about before.
Yes.
And I was like, and I think you're right. That has a lot to do with the way you eat. So like if I sit and I make myself a healthy meal and I think about the bites going into my mouth and breathing and chewing and this and that, then you're full. Okay, you move on. You enjoy it, and then you eventually get to the destination. Like Jonathan said, like you're going to get to the destination, so enjoy the journey. And I think that is such a good analogy for life. Another quote that's one of my favorite quotes ever is, you can't take an unhappy journey to a happy destination. So you can't be unhappy in your diet all this time, like be like, I'm starving myself and I'm blah, 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 to get to a happy like body. Like you have to enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey of your health, your dating, your marriage, your kid. Like enjoy the journey and you will get to the happy destination. There's so many more things that you said that I could have gone on, but I just adore you. I love you. I love all this. And
bravo. Very wise. I love your approach. Everybody's different. And I loved hearing what your
Thank
wise
you so
wisdom.
much.
Of course. So please tell us where everyone can find you and what they can do with you when they do find you.
So I have an Instagram. It's Claudia Alexis Health. And you can just DM me there. I post a lot of different recipes. I post tips. I post tons of information of just being healthy and feeling good and eating all the healthy foods. And I also, just DM me there.
Amazing.
You cook for people too.
I cook for people. I do so many things. I look at my life sometimes and I'm like, Jack, my husband, looks at me and he pick one.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want to do? I'm
Same,
like,
same.
I don't know. I'm going to just keep doing everything
Same.
until I figure it out. But
Whatever.
I'm doing everything.
I'm so proud of you. So everyone go follow her, DM her, get her food. You're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope you liked it as much as we did. Now go send it to someone who needs to hear it, because we know that dating, relationships, marriage can be tough, but we want to make it less tough. And remember, you're allowed to hate your husband. Whatever you're feeling is allowed. So go send it to a friend, to your sister, your brother, maybe your boyfriend, a husband, whoever needs to hear this, send it to them. And while you're at it, click the follow button, click the review button. Always feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and we're so excited to see you in our next episode.